Yes, Mr. President, yes. Uh-huh. Yes. I'll make her sign 5 non-disclosure agreements this time. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you. Sorry about that, folks. That was President Donald J. Trump. He's a huge fan of my show. Just listen what he had to say.
Wow, let me tell you, Nick Pease is doing an excellent job reviewing movies. Believe me. He has as many views in his previous 3 videos as I had at my inauguration. Jeff Sessions had to recuse himself from the Russia investigation just so he could watch more of Nick's content. Wow, what a guy. Every time I'm supposed to be listening to those boring national security briefings, I pull up Nick's channel just to watch him drink Kool-Aid out of a wine glass. Hilarious. I haven't laughed so hard since the time Rosie O'Donnell talked about wiping her ass on national television. Anyways, folks, I've got a lot to do, a lot of presidential stuff, like tweeting while I'm on the John, or firing one of my staff to instill fear. Plus, Putin is on the other line, and he doesn't like it when I make him wait. He's like Melania, except he can stand to be in the same room with me. Good luck on your next review, Nick. You're making America great again, one video at a time.
Thank you, Mr. President. And be sure to smash that subscribe button. Hello and welcome to Opinion Piece. In this episode, we'll be talking about the new film Duck Butter, a deep, emotional film that... Just kidding! We're gonna talk about Marvel! Let's do it. Avengers, Infinity War.
There was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people to see if we could become something more.
The time has come for the culmination of 10 years of filmmaking. The interweaving of plots and characters and gem-shaped MacGuffins all led to this. Thanos, a big purple space titan with a penchant for wearing a single snazzy glove a la Michael Jackson, has finally had enough and decided that it's finally time to get out of his chair and start collecting all the Infinity Stones that we've seen throughout the other movies and bedazzling his look in such a way that would make even a 10-year-old girl jealous. These stones, when gathered together, make Thanos essentially God and capable of anything except fixing the tone problems in DC's Suicide Squad. All that stands in his way are the Avengers, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, S.H.I.E.L.D., all of Xandar, the Asgardian race, and a dizzying array of locations, trials, and tribulations, and what feels like every other working actor in Hollywood. Now, my wife and I are huge fans of these movies, and to be honest, can you blame us? They're not all perfect films, but for the most part, they've been incredibly well written, acted, directed, shot. The effects are amazing. Marvel has strung together 19 films and somehow made it not an incoherent mess, and a lot of that has to do with executive producer and president Kevin Feige. It's pretty amazing. Now, many have tried to replicate this, whether it's that hastily written Spider-Man reboot from Sony a couple of years back, or a couple times that Universal has tried to do this weird, edgy action film, dark universe with monsters, or that time that DC tried to sit there and set up a Justice League movie, and it came off looking more like a bowel movement than an actual film.
Or at least partly have spoken.
Ben?
I agree.
But none have achieved what Marvel has, and I'd argue, like fine wine, the Marvel Universe has gotten better and better with age. Infinity War is no exception to this. If anything, it elevates that lofty bar that the MCU has already set. Folks, I'm gonna be honest, this movie is plain incredible. This movie manages to somehow take all of the hype on the planet and still exceed expectations. Even this late in the game, Marvel is taking big risks and they're paying off in big ways. Traditional weaknesses in MCU films like poor, forgettable villains or undercutting the drama with that spicy little bit of humor are perfectly balanced in this movie. And Thanos, our big purple baddie in this movie, is a looming presence on screen and off it. Despite being rendered entirely in CGI, Josh Brolin's acting manages to cut through to the viewer with amazing motion cap that allows to capture even the smallest little facial tics. He's a real presence on screen, and right out of the gate, Thanos shows you that he's not messing around. You feel real tension on the screen every time he shows up, because you have this sense that your favorite character is never safe when he's around because of what the man is capable of. Thanos' character and motivations are set up flawlessly throughout, and he feels like a real person, or as real as a big murderous Barney the Dinosaur can be. And this is key to making this work because Thanos is allowed to have all this time to build him up and make him a real threat because Marvel has meticulously and slowly built these characters up over years. So now, when we go into a film like this, we can jump right into the action. At this point, it's like these characters are old friends to the viewing audience. I mean, they're fun, they're interesting, perfectly cast, super well written. The banter between them in all these big team-up movies is always a delight. But on top of this, that presence of Thanos is constantly there. And because you have the relationship with these characters, his threat that he poses is even more dire than it would have been. It's a huge accomplishment in and of itself just to make this movie with a dizzying amount of characters and locations and items and to write it in a way that makes it coherent. But Avengers Infinity War is way more than that. You feel the emotional spectrum of this movie. A euphoric rush as each character charges bravely into battle, and fear for their lives as Thanos' voice echoes through the theater. Laugh out loud as characters exchange perfectly timed and written banter. And if you're my wife Amanda, weep multiple times as characters experience pain, loss, tragedy, and despair. This movie is the whole package. A wild ride from start to finish that never wastes a moment. Always feels like it's building towards something and never, ever feels its length. The tone is always on point. The pacing is perfectly timed. It looks absolutely breathtaking and was shot entirely on IMAX cameras. Folks, I could go on and on. As you can always tell, I'm a gentleman, a scholar, a drinker of fine wines, and I always try to be objective when I do these movie reviews. Now, I know at this point, it basically sounds like I've just been fanboy praising this movie and going on and on and on, but I swear by my blue blood as a gentleman and my wealthy, vast estates that I'm being honest. This movie is just that good. It was an amazing accomplishment to get this movie made, and not just that, but the entirety of the MCU. And I, for one, am looking forward to see where the MCU goes from here, and what fate befalls our favorite heroes. On this show, when we rate a movie, we're going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. A 1 being this feeling, and a 10 being this feeling. So on that scale, I'd give Avengers Infinity War, a 10 out of 10. This movie is that good. It's unique, dark, hilarious, fun. It's an amazing ride from start to finish, and I can't wait to watch it again and again and again. This is the best movie the MCU has put out to date, and it's one of my favorite movies I've seen in a little bit. I don't give 10 out of 10s lightly, but this movie seriously might make one of my favorite movie lists. Now, what else could be on that list? Well, I'll tell you. Wait a minute. Sorry. Someone's calling me. Hello, Mr. President!
Wow, Nick. Wow. I just watched your review, and let me tell you, if I had the Infinity Gauntlet, my first act would be to build a magical wall and lock crooked Hillary up. I would do it very quickly. Very quickly. Then I'd probably eat one of those delicious Trump Tower taco salads. Anyone who can't see that I'm a man of refined culture and taste can only be described with one word. Sad. Anyways, as we fellow billionaires always say, bon voyage.